What's up guys, it's Rogue here and welcome back to yet another amazing video on the channel. So for today I've done a challenge and bought 3 Ice Barrier structure decks and I've given myself a £20 budget, and basically I've spent it as best I could to try and make the deck as suitable for locals as possible. This is a deck you're going to be wanting to focus on and basically upgrade it over time as you get nice pulls in your OTS packs and etc, etc. So if you do like videos like this, make sure you leave a like, comment down below what structure deck you want me to do next, and without any further ado, let's get straight into the deck profile. So starting off this budget Ice Barrier deck here, we are playing Triple Revealer of the Ice Barrier. This is one of the new additions from the structure deck and she is actually insane. She's basically like a Crystron Health with 5x for the deck, enabling you to special any tuner from your deck to your hand, any tuner from your deck to the field, that is of course of the Ice Barrier. And when she's in the grave, if you were to discard or send a card from your hand to the grave, she can simply just banish herself. So if you have one of her in the grave and you normal another one, you do not actually have to discard a card because you can just banish the one in your grave. And basically it just becomes a free special from the deck. So that is absolutely insane. And she can also stop tribute summoning as a whole if she's faced up with another Ice Barrier monster. So Triple Revealer, every hand is going to want to aim to have her in it because she's just that important to the strategy in my opinion, giving you instant synchro access. Moving on for the next 3 of here, we are playing Triple Speaker of the Ice Barrier, just an insane extender, again from the structure deck. As long as you control an Ice Barrier, you just special summon her, and once she's in the grave, you can banish her and give yourself a token. Do I need to say anything else? She just starts all your synchro plays because a Revealer plus a level 1 tuner plus a Speaker is a Trish, and that's usually what you're going to be aiming to go for. And then once you make the Trish, you can banish this, get a token, and if you have any more extenders, you can carry on. So that's why she's really, really insane in my opinion. For the 2 of here, we just got double Hexa Spirit. You don't really want to be seeing this card in your hand that much, so I feel like 2 is fine because you're going to be bringing them out the deck anyway. Its ability to change its level is absolutely beautiful. The fact it can just send cards like Zujin to the grave, which we play 1 of, for free to just change its level is kind of crazy in my opinion. So cards like Zujin do want to be in the grave, which is why I play 2 of this. I was playing 1, but I feel like if you play 1, it's kind of risky because once you go for your 1, you're not going to have access to another one easily, so I feel like playing 2. As I said, we play the 1 Zujin because he is an extender. I don't know why they made it so he has to be in the grave a turn, but once that turn passes, he literally just lowers the level of something and by 2 and comes out. So very, very nice card. Kind of sucks though that he has to be a turn in the grave, hence why I'm only playing 1. For the 1-ofs here, but there are 3, we are playing 1 General Wayne because this is a going first build, so why would we play multiple going second cards like Wayne? I feel like we need to play 1 though, because if you do manage to bring him out, he's a spell and trap search, which is very nice. We're playing 1 Defender, mostly because he's a tuner and he's level 3. Not much because of his effect, although his effect has come up where if you have another Ice Barrier, just monsters with 1600 or more attack just cannot attack, so it's sort of stally card, but you're not going to be using it for that. You're just going to be using it to bring out the deck. And Prior, in my opinion, he is one of the best Ice Barriers, not because of his initial effect, which lets you special summon himself, because that does lock you under level 5 or higher monsters a turn. So basically, you never want to summon him using his effect unless you're only going for a link play, because once you do, you cannot summon level 5 or higher, which kind of defeats the purpose of this card in my opinion. But what you are going to be using him for is his on-field effect, where you contribute him and special any Ice Barrier monster from your grave. That is not a once per turn, by the way, so it's an easy way to loop and get your synchros back out from the grave, which is why I'm playing 1 Prior of the Ice Barrier. You can easily send him to the grave with Hexa again, the Ice Barrier that lets you send cards to the grave to modulate its level. Prior is a pretty good target. Moving on to the non-Ice Barrier monsters here, we've got double Mooning Glacier. This is a going first deck. Ripping 2 cards out of your opponent's hand is actually crazy, especially if you combo it with a Trish, so they start with 3 less cards in their hand and you're pretty much going to win the duel at that point. This is all part of the structure deck. All this came in the structure deck, including our Silent Anglers, so we haven't gone into our £20 budget yet. I'm playing double Silent Angler because again, he's another extender. Sometimes you just need to get bodies on the board to enable your synchro plays, and hence why I am playing 2 Silent Angler. So the first bit of our budget was used to get our Cyframe Gamma package, and of course it comes with the driver. I decided on getting this card because not only does it negate hand traps like Ash, for example, when you activate Medallion, or Droll after you add off Medallion, It's a tuner as well, guys. So the driver and the gamma make you an omega, which lets you not only rip another card out of your opponent's hand, but lets you recycle stuff from your banish pile back into the grave. Cards like Zujin do banish themselves after they leave the field if you summon them using their effect. Cards like Revealer banish themselves to prevent you from discarding. All that can be brought back to the grave for future use, so this card does serve a lot of purpose. Not only does it go into synchro plays, Omega actually helps you in the grind game quite a bit. So triple gamma on the one driver. And now moving on to our spells. All these spells did come in the Ice Barrier structure deck, so I'm just going to be showing them. We got triple Winds over the Ice Barrier, triple Medallion, and triple of Freezing Chains. Winds is a very good card because if you have any Ice Barrier monster, you can just tribute it and special summon the Revealer from your deck, which is the main purpose of this deck, is to get into Revealer. You can also banish your Winds to add a banished or Ice Barrier monster that is in your grave back to your hand, so you can also be putting that back with Omega to get constant adds to your hand every turn. Medallion is just a consistency card, not once per turn, allowing you to add an Ice Barrier. And Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier, in my opinion, is the MVP card of the spells because it is a monster reborn on activation and does protect you from monster effects that were from the extra deck if you do control 3 or more Ice Barriers. But that's not the main reason why I love this card. I love this card because it's a continuous, and the fact that it's a continuous lets you bounce itself back with DeLorean to then activate it again. So if you have a DeLorean and this is already on the field, you can bounce it back to your hand and then activate it again, which gives you another monster reborn, which I think is absolutely crazy. And once you realize that, you'll understand why we're playing so many continuous cards in our deck. So for the last spell here, didn't come in the structure deck. Just one Upstart Goblin, was common, very cheap, didn't go much into our budget. Just another consistency piece. And moving on to the traps here, we are going to start it off with triple Crackdown. This did of course come in the structure deck and it is a continuous, so what you're going to be aiming to do is take a face-up monster, stop your opponent's turn, make DeLorean in your turn, bounce Crackdown back, give that monster back, then beat over it with DeLorean, and this gives you your Crackdown back so you can negate again. Well, not negate, but take the monster and stop a ignition effect, which is what you're going to be aiming to do. And that is the same principle that we have for Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain, you're going to be negating something, stopping an attack, making DeLorean, and bouncing Fiendish Chain back to your hand. Fiendish Chain very rarely leaves the field because only leaves the field when the monster it is equipped to is destroyed. So, for example, if they link it off, Fiendish Chain stays dead up, face on the field. If they use it for an XC summon, Fiendish Chain stays on the field, which is actually kind of good in this deck because DeLorean will then be able to bounce back your Fiendish Chain to give itself attack, and then you can reset your Fiendish Chain to then have more interruptions. So all this did come part of the Ice Barrier structure deck, so it didn't go much into the budget. We are playing some more traps because we do need the traps in a deck like this. This was a few purchases I made for the deck. We are playing double Gravity Collapse because once you read this card, you realize why I'm playing it. The ability to just send a synchro to the grave to stop the summoning, and then just lock your opponent out of summoning for the turn is crazy in a counter trap card, which is why I'm playing 2 Gravity Collapse. I don't playing 3 because opening 2 can be kind of really bad if you don't have access to a synchro. And double White Howling because your entire deck is water, and by just targeting a spell in your opponent's grave, banishing it, you can negate all spell effects on your opponent's field. This is basically an auto win against Sky Striker. Banish their engage and negate all their spells for the rest of the turn. Absolutely insane card. So now we're going to be moving on to the extra deck. Moving on to the extra deck here, where most of our budget was spent. We are starting off with the Marincess Coral Anemone. Quite a pricey card at the moment, and the majority of our budget was spent on this card. I believe it was something like £8 on eBay, which is what I got it for. But this card is vital in my opinion because all it takes is 2 water monsters and then it's just a monster reborn for cards with 1500 or less attack. And what do you think in the deck that is 1500 or less attack? It is of course our Prior of the Ice Barrier, so you can bring back Prior and then Prior effect, and you can bring back one of your synchros, which is why I think Coral Anemone is very, very useful in a deck like this. For the extra deck monsters, our synchros that did come in the structure deck, we got double of the new Trish, absolutely insane. Just banish 3 cards, non-targeting, and then floats into your normal Trish. 1 Trish, of course, because it's at 1. The ability to banish 1 card out of your opponent's hand, field, and grave is very, very nice. Even in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, the effect is still very strong. We got double Gungnir because Gungnir can be very nice to just destroy cards on the field, and if you only go to, for example, to destroy 1 card, you can banish your Revealer in the grave, so it just becomes a destroy 1, which is very nice. We got double DeLorean Probably the most important monster in the extra deck here, because it can bounce back your face-up spells and traps to give itself attack, which allows you to reuse them again. So DeLorean is actually an MVP in this extra deck, and one of my favorite Ice Barrier monsters because of that. For our last one, we're playing triple Bronic. In my opinion, you should cut this down to 2 and probably play triple DeLorean. But I'm just playing 3 Bronic. It doesn't really matter. We haven't really got that much of a diverse extra deck because of the budget here. But the reason I'm playing 3 is because it gets around destruction. It just returns cards from the field to the hand, which is why I am playing 3 of Bronic. For the synchros that are not part of the structure deck here, we're playing one White Aura Whale. Again, quite expensive at the moment, this card, but I believe it is essential because going second, it blows up everything in attack, can make 2 attacks, and when it is actually outed, it can come back as a tuner. So that is why I'm playing 1 White Aura Whale. It is going to go a lot into the budget, but I believe it is worth it. Plus, it's very, very nice and secret. We're playing, of course, the Omega. We are playing the Gamma package, so Omega is very essential in a deck like this, allowing you to loop your resources back into the grave and take a card out of your opponent's hand. In my opinion, that is a auto include for this deck. For the last synchro here, we're playing 1 Coral Dragon. Very useful because he's actually a tuner, so you can then just synchro him away and draw a card. You don't really use the discard effect that much. You mostly just make him to draw a card and go into other synchros, so that is why I play the Coral Dragon. Also, if you end with a Coral Dragon and a Gravity Collapse, you can negate a summon and then draw a card because Coral Dragon was sent from the field to the grave. And for the last Xyz, and for the last monster here, we are playing the Xyz monster, which is of course Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is just an auto win against most matchups that rely on the grave. And of course, since you are using water materials as, you know, material under it, it does gain attack. So that is very, very nice. So that is, of course, the end of my budget version of Ice Barriers. Let me know if you guys did enjoy what I did with my £20. I bought the structure decks and invested £20 into the deck. I tried making it as competitive as I could for locals. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next video.
It's time! Let's go!